We're going to begin this hour with an incredible story of determination that led to a life-changing discovery. Deanna Shrodes, who was adopted as a baby, was building a family in Florida while at the same time trying to learn about her own origins. So after years of searching, Shrodes met her biological mom, who died before revealing the identity of her biological father. Our lead national correspondent, that's David Begnaud, spoke with Shrodes about getting answers and answering a stranger's prayers in the process.
The life story of Deanna Shrodes was a story without a beginning. At least she didn't know the beginning, but she was determined to find out.
I have to know where I started, and I have to know who else out there is a part of me. That desire never left.
Shrodes was adopted as an infant. She was 27 years old when she found her biological mom.
She was not open to meeting me, and then I went and met her personally. I just showed up, knocked on the door.
So you meet her, and you guys end up having a relationship for how many years?
20 years until she died.
You had one question for your mother, which you kept asking.
Yeah.
And it was?
Who is my father?
And her answer was?
I'm going to go to the grave with the name. Had no idea she was sick. Had no idea that there was cancer brewing. Weeks later, she was diagnosed, and a couple months later, she was dead.
She took it to the grave.
She took it right to the grave. Just give me a call.
Now, the story almost ended right there. But her mom did tell her two important things about her dad. He was Greek and from Richmond, Virginia. So she set out, creating a private Facebook group, Finding Mr. Greek. She gathered a group of friends and volunteers who would help search for him. And she signed up for multiple DNA registries, hoping that science would lead her to her father.
How many years do they try to find Mr. Greek?
Well, it's been 10 years. I got maybe 5 matches on my father's side. So I'm like, this is terrible. Like, we don't have anything to work with here on the DNA side.
Just open yourself up for just a new level of healing and restoration in your life.
She is an ordained minister, so she prayed a lot.
I told my husband, I told my best friend Laura, I said, listen guys, you might think I'm crazy, but I was in prayer. God spoke this to me. Your father's name is Gus.
Well, sure enough, in May of this year, after nearly a lifetime of wondering, her prayers were answered. There was a match to a cousin she never knew she had.
I reached out to this cousin, and I said, we've just matched on 23andMe. And he said, I think you're my Uncle Gus's daughter. And I said, I think that too.
His name is Gus. Gus Nicholas, 92 years old. He lived in Richmond all his life. A bachelor who was never married, he was a retired ballroom dance instructor.
I prepared myself to find a grave, and I now found a person. And it was just absolutely mind-blowing. Couldn't believe that I had found a person.
Shrodes called him the very next day.
My heart was beating out of my chest. I was like, what is this going to be like? And is he going to accept me? Is he going to want to see me? When I found him, he was so excited to be found. He said, I woke up this morning and I was alone. Now this afternoon, I have a daughter, I have a son-in-law, I have 3 grandchildren, I have great-grandchildren. He said, I'm not alone in the world anymore. And I said, no, you're not. You're not.
Within a week, she was at Gus's bedside.
Well, I'm here.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here too.
As it turns out, just 4 months before they met, Gus had fallen at home. He was found lying on the floor. He could no longer care for himself. So the state placed him in a nursing home. And that's where they first met.
Gus would say to me, please don't let me die in here. Don't let me die in here. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make sure.
Yes, they are father and daughter, but still strangers, which makes what happened next absolutely remarkable. Deanna said to Gus, would you like to come and live with me? To which Gus responded, how soon can we go? And so 56 years after she was adopted, and 75 short days after she first called him, Shrodes and her husband, Pastor Larry Shrodes, took Nicholas out of that nursing home and drove him to their home right outside Tampa, Florida.
Okay, you got the orange?
Yep.
They now provide for him full-time. She cooks his meals, Greek he always prefers, and she feeds them to him. Her guest room is now his bedroom. There are the mementos that he asked her to bring from the Richmond home. His trophies, dancing shoes, favorite hat, and a picture from the good old days.
I love you so much.
92 years of memories are packed into this 80-square-foot room. It is just big enough for his hospital bed, but intimate enough for the conversations they have.
I knew your mother for 60-some years. I knew her.
Hi, Gus.
I even got a chance to say hello.
How does it feel to have your daughter find you?
It felt good.
Yeah?
I didn't find my daughter. My daughter found me.
She found you.
Yeah.
To the man who gave her life, she is prepared to give back to him until the end of his. She's asked just one thing of him. Will you tell me all about you?
It is the most worthwhile thing I've ever done in my life. It's the hardest thing. It's the most worthwhile thing. It's the most incredible miracle I've ever had the privilege to live out. Yeah, I'm living the dream.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Wow.
David, what a story. I mean, she took such a risk just knocking on the mother's door, saying, here I am, and then to find Gus. I believe that stuff happens where you hear a voice and it tells you something, and it turns out to be the real thing, and it's Gus. It's amazing.
I have to tell you guys, I heard this story on a Saturday morning from a viewer who reached out to me and said, David, you got to hear this story. I called her right away, and 2 hours later, I said, if I can convince my bosses to let me go do this story, we'll be there right away. And sure enough, we did. It is remarkable, the journey, the determination she had, and to find that man and then say, let me take care of you.
Take you, yeah.
I was just so moved by it.
I love him laying in the bed saying, did you have the orange juice? Already they have such a connection. And I can't help but notice that sign above the bed, too, that says, give it to God and go to sleep. I know you noticed
no doubt. David,
give it to God and go to sleep.
I'm curious, did Deanna ever find out why her mom wanted to go to the grave with Gus's name?
Oh, I knew somebody would ask that. Good question. She doesn't know for sure. She thinks it's because her mom, God rest her soul, didn't really want to share her with Gus. There may have been some resentment between the two of them dating back to when they first met, and that's why her mom wanted to keep it a secret.
Wow. Did Gus even know that she existed? Did he know?
He did. My understanding is he did.
Wow. Wow.
Well, I'm glad they found each other, and certainly the way they found each other.
Right on time, huh?
Yeah, they are.
We love it when viewers send you story ideas, and we really love it when the bosses sign off on it.
Keep them coming.
Yes.
David reads his DMs.
Love the happy endings, right?
Yes, we love a happy ending.
David Begnaud, thank you very much, my friend. See you again soon.